There is a very real reason you felt drawn to hear this right now. It is no accident that your intuition brought you here, because deep down, you already sense the truth. You are aware that something unusual happened yesterday. Perhaps there was a shift in the air, a sudden heaviness, or an unexpected pang of fear that didn't match what you were doing. Maybe you were engaged in your usual activities, sharing a laugh, or simply resting when, without warning, a wave of emptiness hit your chest. I want you to understand that this is not your imagination. That sudden anxiety is not truly yours. It is, in fact, the reflection of an emotional crisis someone else is experiencing from afar. This person is struggling deeply, and their distress is connected to you. When I say they are struggling, I do not mean they simply miss you. I mean that their emotional stability has been shaken to its core. Yesterday, they felt your presence more intensely than they have since your separation or distance. It is vital to recognize that the bonds connecting two souls are not limited by distance or social media barriers. True human connection, especially that which touches the spirit, works like a system of interlinked vessels. When one side overflows, the other feels it. What you felt yesterday, the restlessness that made you check your phone for a message that never arrived, or waking suddenly at dawn with their name on your mind, was a sign that their defenses had broken down. This person had spent considerable time building a wall of indifference, convincing themselves they could move on, that forgetting was possible. But yesterday, that wall crumbled. All the emotions they had hidden, every thought they tried to suppress, erupted inside them. The resulting shockwave was so strong that you could sense it, almost physically. Understanding this is essential for your inner calm, because it is very likely that your rational mind tried to create logical reasons for the discomfort you experienced. You may have assumed it was stress, exhaustion, or simply your own thoughts misleading you. However, your inner awareness knows how to distinguish between emotions that belong to you and emotions that originate from someone else. What you felt yesterday was a quiet signal for support. In isolation, this person faced the difficult truth of your absence, and the emotional weight became overwhelming. They realized that no distraction was effective, that the constant noise of daily life could not quiet the presence of your memory. They are passing through a period of emotional darkness, a deep internal struggle, where the only source of clarity they recognize is the impact you once had on their life. And while pride or fear may be stopping them from reaching out to you directly at this moment, their energy has already moved toward you. Their energetic presence searched for you intensely yesterday, which is why you felt unsettled, as if someone were observing you or calling out in an empty space. But to understand why this emotional collapse occurred yesterday rather than last week or last month, you must first recognize the urgent message their inner self was sending and that you received without words. There is an unseen process behind this experience, an internal mechanism that shifted and explains why the situation on a subtle level suddenly changed so dramatically. Have you noticed how your thoughts now repeatedly bring their image forward with unusual force, almost as if they were standing close behind you? The explanation lies in what unfolded last night in their personal space and in the energetic exchange that developed over the past 24 hours. If you are ready to absorb this understanding into your life, write in the comments, "I received the message." Yesterday was not an ordinary moment in their emotional timeline. On an energetic level, everything reached a limit, a point of emotional saturation. Imagine this person slowly filling a glass with every memory of you they tried to suppress, with every urge to contact you that they restrained, and with every tear they held back to maintain the appearance of strength. Yesterday, that emotional threshold was crossed. What happened is that the resistance this person was maintaining against the connection finally gave way from sheer exhaustion. Upholding an emotional pretense consumes an enormous amount of energy. Pretending that someone your soul recognizes as essential doesn't matter to you is perhaps the most draining effort there is. And yesterday, this person simply could not sustain the weight of the mask any longer. It is highly likely that yesterday marked a moment of change for you. Maybe, even for a brief instant, you chose to release control. Perhaps you became so immersed in your own matters that, for a few hours, you stopped projecting that energy of waiting and anxiety toward them. In the realm of energy, when you cease pushing or waiting in desperation, a vacuum is created, and nature does not tolerate a vacuum. When you withdrew your constant attention even briefly, this person sensed the emptiness of your genuine absence. As long as you are present and transmitting energy of attachment, they feel secure. They know they have you within their energetic sphere, which allows them to remain in their comfort zone and maintain indifference. But yesterday, something shifted in you, triggering deep fear in their subconscious. They felt the possibility of truly losing you. This was not a rational thought. It was a visceral, instinctive feeling. It was as though the air around them suddenly thickened. Even if they were surrounded by friends, at a social event, or meeting someone new, an unexpected wave of emotional nausea overcame them. Everything seemed tasteless. Conversations felt hollow. Ordinary sounds became irritating. Their own mind betrayed them, bombarding them with comparisons. Everything they saw reminded them of you, not with fond nostalgia, but with a painful sense of absence. Nobody looks at me that way, nobody understands me that way, nobody loves me that way. Yesterday, these comparisons were merciless, and they could not resist the memory of you. This energetic surge manifests as anxiety, often without any clear reason in their daily life. Work may be going smoothly, health may be stable, and outwardly everything may appear normal, yet the emotional undercurrent is undeniable. Nevertheless, yesterday they sensed that something deeply wrong was unfolding. There was a strong awareness that time is slipping away, and that their pride has become too expensive a cost for the loneliness they are experiencing. They found themselves staring at their phone, possibly typing a message only to erase it, or checking your profile to see if there was any sign of activity, any indication that you are still present. They acted from pain and urgency. Yesterday, they felt you more intensely than ever before because their defenses collapsed. When the ego becomes exhausted from resisting, the soul takes control. And this person's soul desires only one thing: to return home. You represent that energetic home for them. The strength of what they experienced yesterday was so overwhelming that it pushed them into a state of serious mental confusion. They began to question all of their recent choices. They asked themselves why they pulled away and why they allowed the situation to grow this distant and cold. Guilt and regret are extremely heavy and dense emotional states, and that is exactly what is draining them now. This is why it is said that they are in a very bad condition. This is not an empty statement meant to reassure you. It accurately reflects their current emotional and energetic state. They are caught in a storm of conflicting emotions. They want you, yet they are afraid. They miss you, yet they are unsure if you would accept them. They want to reach out, but the fear of rejection leaves them frozen. This internal chaos produces an intense amount of mental and emotional energy directed toward you. You became the receiver of this powerful signal. That is why you felt what you felt yesterday, because you absorbed the direct impact of their emotional collapse. They tried everything to remove you from their thoughts. Perhaps they went to bed early to escape their mind, or tried to lose themselves in distractions. But energy behaves like water. It always finds a way through the smallest opening. Yesterday, there was no resistance left. They realized they carry you beneath their skin, that your presence in their life cannot be erased. This understanding is terrifying for someone who runs from their emotions, and that fear transformed into the anxiety you sensed. It is the fear of someone who knows they made a mistake and does not know how to fix it. But that anxiety did not arrive by itself. Along with it came a physical, almost painful signal that made it impossible for them to keep escaping this emotion. It was no longer only psychological. Their body responded. There is a biological process involved in missing someone, and yesterday it was triggered with unusual intensity. This reaction interferes with their ability to function normally in everyday life. If it were possible to observe them privately, away from others, the evidence would be unmistakable. Your energy has gained complete influence over their will. What makes this connection remarkable is that it does not exist only as thoughts or abstract emotions. If we could closely observe their physical state right now, we would see their body responding in ways that are beyond conscious, logical control. The human body is the most sensitive receiver there is. When the soul sends a signal, biology answers. What this person felt yesterday and continues to feel today is a strong physical expression of your absence. It is not only that you are on their mind, their body is clearly showing symptoms similar to energetic withdrawal. The mental resistance they try to maintain is beginning to collapse on a physical level. This creates deep confusion and frustration because they cannot understand why these feelings persist when, in theory, they are trying to move forward with their life. One of the clearest symptoms they are experiencing right now is a distinct pressure in the center of their chest. It is not medical pain, but a sensation of tightness, as though an unseen force is compressing their heart, or as if breathing feels restricted despite normal airflow. This knot-like sensation represents all the unspoken words and the affection they have held back. Yesterday, this pressure likely became almost unbearable. At some point during the day, they may have had to pause, take a deep breath, or instinctively place a hand on their chest to ease a weight that is emotional rather than physical. It is the burden of knowing at a deep cellular level that they are far from where they truly belong. Alongside this tightness, there is another experience that may sound familiar, because you may have gone through it yourself. The early morning insomnia and waking at repeated or mirrored hours. This person is not resting well. Even if they manage to fall asleep due to exhaustion, their sleep remains light and frequently interrupted. Yesterday, it is very likely they woke suddenly between 300 and 40 am with an unexplained sense of alertness, as if someone had called their name or switched on a light. In the quiet of the night, when the ego's defenses are lowered, their thoughts move directly toward you. They are unable to escape it. They shift in bed, searching for a position that feels comfortable. Yet the pillow feels crowded with thoughts of what once was and what might have been. This sudden awakening is the body's reaction to the energy you are emitting, or conversely, to the emptiness created when you pulled your energy away. Another physical sign that reflects their current condition is an unusual level of fatigue, an exhaustion that remains regardless of how much they sleep or rest. This person feels weighed down, as if walking or completing routine tasks now demands twice the usual effort. This fatigue comes from the constant drain of energy caused by an inner conflict. Consider how many vital resources are consumed when someone spends the entire day deceiving themselves, acting as if a deeply important person no longer matters. This battle between a mind that resists and a heart that agrees steadily depletes their strength. That is why this person felt drained before and continues to feel that way today, lacking motivation, functioning on autopilot. Those around them may notice that their eyes appear dull, that their usual spark is missing, or that their enthusiasm has faded, because the energy source that was amplified by your presence now feels out of reach. It is also very common for appetite changes to appear in this state. The stomach, often referred to as the second emotional brain, tightens in response to the anxiety of separation. This person may experience a knot in their stomach that makes normal eating difficult, or, on the opposite end, they may feel anxious urges that they try to soothe by eating without truly tasting the food. Yesterday, food seemed flavorless to this person. Everything felt bland because, on a subconscious level, the sweetness of life is associated with you. When the spirit is deprived of the love and connection it longs for, the body loses interest in physical nourishment. This is a basic form of grief that the body is processing even while the conscious mind hesitates to acknowledge it. Even this person's senses are searching for you, creating subtle illusions. They may have thought they saw your outline among people on the street or heard a voice identical to yours within a crowd. The sense of smell, which is most strongly tied to emotional memory, frequently misleads them. Without warning, a passing scent reaches them that brings you to mind, your fragrance, your presence, or simply your essence. In places where your presence is impossible, the brain becomes so eager to find signs of you that it begins projecting you into their physical reality. Yesterday, this person suddenly turned their head, expecting to see you. When they realized you weren't there, the emptiness they felt intensified. Their body instinctively searches for you, like water naturally seeks the riverbed. This biological urge is undeniable proof that even if their lips remain silent, their very cells are calling out for you. What's remarkable is that this isn't magic, it's a natural law of the mind and nature, discovered decades ago by a great visionary, which perfectly explains your situation. Understanding why their body reacts so strongly to your invisible presence can bring peace of mind. It helps you trust your intuition and grasp why this person felt such a breakdown yesterday, even without you physically present, and why you sensed it so clearly. To understand this, we turn to the insights of one of the greatest explorers of the human mind, Carl Jung. Though he lived long ago, his discoveries align with what modern spirituality confirms daily. Fundamentally, we are not separate beings. Jung explained that our minds are not isolated islands floating in an empty ocean. Instead, they are part of a vast network, a collective consciousness, where everything is connected beneath the surface. He called this the collective unconscious. Today, we can visualize it as a universal, invisible network, similar to a Wi-Fi system constantly linking all of us. Imagine you and this person as two trees planted miles apart. Above ground, they appear separate, each with its own trunk and branches. But underground, their roots spread, touch, and intertwine. Through these hidden connections, nutrients, information, and warning signals pass between them. When one tree experiences sudden stress or change, the other senses it through this subterranean network. Jung proposed that this hidden connection explains why we can sense someone's presence without seeing them, and why significant events often occur simultaneously. Embedded in this idea is a powerful concept he called synchronicity. Synchronicities aren't random coincidences, they're moments when the external world mirrors what is happening internally. That sudden anxiety you felt yesterday, or the song that unexpectedly reminded this person of you, wasn't chance. It was synchronicity. The universe aligning circumstances to show that your connection remains alive. Synchronicity is the language of this shared consciousness, signaling that the story isn't over. It's as though the universe conspires so that no matter how far this person runs, signs always guide them back to you. This explains why they experienced your presence yesterday with such intense, almost volcanic emotion. According to this Jungian perspective, thoughts and emotions are real energy, just as real as the electricity that lights a lamp. When you focus on someone with intensity or release, when your determination is strong, you send a wave through this invisible network. Yesterday, something shifted in your own energy. Perhaps you stopped resisting, or your vibration changed, or maybe the accumulated energy in the shared unconscious reached its tipping point. The person connected to you through this invisible, indestructible thread received the discharge. They had no choice. Their soul registered the signal before their rational mind could intervene. Joseph would explain that the crisis this person is experiencing, the difficulty they are going through, is essential for their individuation, their growth and maturity. Often, people avoid deep connections because these connections act as mirrors. You are the mirror in which this person sees their own shadows, their fears of surrender, their insecurities, and their vast capacity for love that they often deny. By distancing themselves from you, they are trying to flee from the part of their soul that awakened with your presence. But this wisdom teaches us what you deny controls you, and what you accept transforms you. Yesterday, denial no longer worked. The suppressed psychic energy overflowed, compelling them to face themselves. Through this invisible network, they felt your presence, perhaps without you even realizing it, forcing them to reconsider their reality. You don't need to send messages, make calls, or appear physically to reach this person. At the level of the collective unconscious, physical presence is secondary. The real connection occurs in silence. When you are at peace, when you are certain, that vibration travels along the invisible thread and reaches them. Yesterday, they felt the pull. They sensed that, despite the distance, your presence within them was stronger than ever. This view helps us see that there are no victims or perpetrators, only two souls interacting within a network of deep meaning. The discomfort they feel now, the struggle of doing poorly, is actually a symptom of awakening. Their unconscious is sending them images, dreams, and physical sensations to crack the shell of their ego. The ego seeks protection and separation, but the collective unconscious, the wisdom that unites us, seeks union and truth. The more they resist, the stronger the signal they receive from the universe. It is a law of compensation. If they consciously try to erase you, they will unconsciously dream of you twice as intensely. Understanding this restores your power. You are no longer dependent on whether they reach out to know a connection exists. You can feel the thread, and you know they feel it too. Yesterday was proof. The network vibrated, and that resonance remains quietly working within their energy field, weakening defenses, and preparing them for what must inevitably happen, surrender to the truth of what they feel. Through this invisible network, yesterday you sent a silent message stronger than any text could be, one that is now taking root in their mind and will soon manifest. Naturally, when you grasp the intensity of their feelings and the depth of the emotional shift they experienced, a logical and difficult question arises in your own mind. If it's true that their soul longs for reunion, if it's true that anxiety overwhelms them and their body shows withdrawal symptoms, then why is their phone silent? Why is there no call, no message? No visible sign confirming in the physical world what your intuition already senses in the energetic realm. This is the paradox of silence, and it's often where people start doubting their own perception. It's essential to understand that external silence does not mean internal forgetting. In this situation, silence is actually a clear indicator of their inner conflict. There is a vast difference between what a person feels and what they do. Between emotion and action stands a powerful guardian called the ego. Right now, their ego is in overdrive. They struggle not because they lack feeling, but because they are waging an intense battle within. On one side is the truth of their heart, stirred powerfully yesterday, urging them to reconnect and heal what's broken, to return to the place where they felt happiness. On the other side is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of losing freedom, fear of admitting mistakes, or simply fear of the vulnerability it takes to say, "I miss you." At this moment, they are paralyzed by overthinking. Yesterday, their emotions surged so intensely that their defense mechanisms kicked in at full force. Think of someone approaching a fire. Their first instinct is to step back to avoid being burned. That fire represents the intensity of their feelings for you. When they felt the heat of love and need yesterday, their automatic reaction was not to rush forward, but to step back and protect themselves. The silence you see is not indifference. It is self-protection, a way to guard their emotional stability against the overwhelming effect your presence has on their heart. They are aware that hearing your voice again or reading your words would shatter every wall they have built. That potential loss of control terrifies them. Pride also plays a key role in this. It's likely that this person has acted or spoken in ways that create distance, projecting firmness or detachment both to the world and to you. Breaking that silence would mean swallowing their own words and admitting defeat. For the soul, returning to love is a triumph. But for the ego, asking for forgiveness or showing vulnerability feels humiliating. They understand that a single message from them could undo all the illusions they've carefully constructed. As soon as they write even the first line, the floodgates open, longing, unspoken truths, and desires pour out in a way they can no longer control. This is exactly what they are fleeing, not from you, but from the power you hold over their inner world. Their silence, then, is not strength, it's a sign they are emotionally overwhelmed. They are trying to appear composed, even as every part of them, body, mind, and soul, signals that the distance is wrong. Their silence is merely the surface of an internal chaos far louder than they would ever admit. Here is the crucial truth: this phase is not permanent. No one can resist such a strong inner movement indefinitely. The invisible forces continue to work, connections grow, synchronicities appear, and their defenses weaken. Eventually, the soul's call becomes stronger than fear. When that moment arrives, they will no longer be able to hide behind silence or pride. The heartbreak, longing, and pain they have carried will push them toward the decision they've been holding inside to move toward you. In the end, when all masks fall, only the truth remains that you are the place where their restlessness finally finds peace.